Why don't you leave the owl in there making hooting noises, and we can go up top and listen for him.
I guess, yeah, the owl could just hang out down here and fly around in circles until we can find him.
Give me a perception check for the owl.
Okay. He has advantage on perception. Is this hearing or sight related?
Sight.
Okay. $19.
So what's odd is there is a hole, like a little pinhole of light in the rock above, but the gallery here, the ceiling above you, is maybe only 20 feet away or so. But you see on the sides, along the walls, kind of right above where you found the dead bodies, are braced with wood.
So this sunlight would have to be coming from a hell of a lot higher than that. Because we are pretty deep underground.
What's braced with wood?
Not sure. There's wooden beams that the owl notices disappearing into the rocks of the wall. One on either side of where this thin beam of sunlight is streaming through.
So this may have been some sort of shaft that the miners collapsed.
We're not that like is the mine, does it trend downwards like significantly?
So the grade of the mine is nothing that you yourselves have noticed until you started playing with water and watching the way that the water flowed. The only significant parts that you found got steeper is when this tunnel here ducked down underneath the other one. That's about it. And again, you haven't seen any other shafts in the area. You think you've seen the extent of the mine at this point.
So, given cartography and navigation skills, can I figure out roughly where the hole is in relation to the position of the entrance, so that if I were to go up top, I know roughly how far over and where to go to look for the hole?
You can do this work, but it wouldn't be just making a quick check. This would take probably an hour or so, maybe a little more of figuring, and it would probably require somebody to be on the other side of the hole up top.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there a way to find out? All I want to do is, if I go up top outside of the cave, can I find the hole that's going down?
You can, but like I said, it's going to take probably an hour at least. It's not something you're going to resolve with a quick check.
Okay.
I can, since Evie can speak Darkanese now, I can stay in the cave and be down here because I can.
I don't want to leave anybody down here
alone.
We'll
come back. We'll come back.
I will just sit in this water. just sit. I just plop in the water. Go on. I'm safe.
Why don't we take the bodies back and then we'll go investigate the hole?
So you're telling me I got my pants wet for no reason?
Yes.
That's on you.
Pretty par for the course.
So you guys are taking this waterlogged body back out of the hole, and you're going to drag him out of the dungeon.
Along with the other 3 decomposed corpses.
Okay. Somebody give me a medicine check.
Let me give that a shot.
Washing them with water as salt builds up.
That's 12 on medicine.
Detail on the fat man's body is difficult to discern because it's been laying in the water for long and it's really mushy in places. But having seen his long johns in the previous chamber, as whoever's flipping him over, I'm assuming Jeannie's doing this.
Oh, look, a dead body.
You see, on around his gut, you're pretty sure you've noticed several stab wounds.
No, it sounds consistent with the clothing.
So what, do you think somebody killed him and then threw his body in here to hide it?
And then maybe collapse the tunnel afterwards so that it couldn't be found.
I'm not so sure about that, mostly because there's also the woman and child.
It could have been killed, all 4 of them.
We
can't tell anything about these bodies. They're too decomposed.
It could have been his entire family.
Well, the fat man is a much newer kill, if that's the case, because his body's not as far gone as the other 3.
Are they?
This could be a spree killer.
We're definitely missing a part of the story.
You don't think the villagers are killing people and dumping their bodies into the...
Maybe they're making sacrifices.
I don't think the water... I don't think once we got up to where the rocks were, the water was flowing fast enough to carry a body, except maybe during a rainstorm.
How long do you think
Jeannie has a point. Like, so far we found frog people that wanted to put dead bodies to a god. We found people that had done a curse thing in a castle to do some sort of god. Maybe these villagers, as nice as they are sacrificing people to a salt god to keep themselves safe.
Here's the other question. Here's the other potentiality. What if, based on how long these bodies have been here, who's to say that one among our number isn't responsible for this?
You think Denny's been doing this?
I'm not making the accusation.
I watched him for he'd have had to do that in a very narrow, because I did not let my eyes off of him for a pretty good period of time. Plus, how would we even find someone to kill out here?
How do we know our ship captain's
Edmont,
reputation?
I like where you're going with this, but unfortunately, I think cultist halflings are probably more realistic.
We'll just have to see. Let's see if anybody recognizes the bodies.
Yeah, I think jumping to the conclusion that it was one of us that's a little premature. We don't have any actual evidence of that.
We don't have any actual evidence that anyone involved in this isn't even already dead. It could be one of these other numerous bodies we killed.
Yeah, we don't have any evidence. The next step is to ask questions in town.
What if this is like a portal to another one of those realms they were talking about?
It might.
That would be weird. That would be weird, right?
Yeah.
That'd be par for the course.
Super weird.
That would be strange.
On the plus side, if we get settled somewhere, we know we have a lucrative salt mine that we can take over.
This belongs to the halflings.
No, it doesn't.
I'm a little more concerned about whatever it does to bodies and also people, maybe.
Yeah, let's board this back up once we get out.
So
I thought you wanted to figure out where the hole was.
We do, but we can take the boards down and we come back for another investigation.
Okay. I'm going to push the wrong button here.
Push the right button.
Push the button.
That was the incorrect button. Yeah, for sure.
It could also have been some sort of malicious traders that were taking their money and then killing them on
They don't have money. They do barter.
No, not the halflings. It could have been like the guy that brought us here. Some malicious caravan guy taking these people for a ride, promising them a trip to a village, and then killing them and robbing them on the way.
So you guys
Sani?
emerge from the mine, having spent a few hours in your investigation. So it's probably an hour or two before noon at this point. You spend some time placing the boards back and hammering them back into place. And yeah, you're now in the quarry with the fat man's waterlogged body and then the skeletonized torso and heads of the other three.
Guess I'll head into town and find. I'm sure they're working. They're still working in the square, maybe taking down the festival.
No, that had happened a day or two ago. I mean, there are villagers all over the place working cheerfully, going about their daily routines.
For like a patriarch of some kind.
Yeah, like the elders, the guys who are making the decisions, and I will go to them and say, "We found something kind of disturbing in the mine."
So there's not really anybody in charge per se. Like I said last week, when they have to have a decision, they have probably the patriarchs of all the families come together and come to a communal decision.
Right.
Well, I find one of those guys.
So you're going to find one of the old men. You find one who is smoking a long pipe out on his swinging bench on his porch. One of the men that you've been delighting in sharing conversation with, picking up the language from.
Okay. Elder, we've made a rather grisly discovery in your salt mine.
He waits for your explanation.
We found 4 dead bodies that appear to be humans, and
Oh.
one of them had a business card.
Can't say as I'm surprised. We all know that the mines are dangerous. We warned you as such.
Well, we don't know when they could have had the opportunity to go inside. Have you had visitors recently?
And he thinks for a moment, takes a puff on his pipe. Says, not that I can recall. Not since that toy maker came through.
Was his name Blinsky?
That seems familiar to me. And he yells out to one of the kids playing in the village green, and she comes over with her doll. He takes it, tears it over, pulls her bloomers back. You can see where on the wooden rump of the doll is the toymaker's mark, which reads in Darkanese, "Is no fun, is no Blinsky."
Well,
I don't want to say anything more for the little girl.
You don't have to. I mean, he thanks her and sends her on her way, and she goes
Okay,
back
well,
down,
Yeah.
playing
So-
with Tenny and the other girls of the village.
Yeah. So we're pretty sure that one of the bodies we found is the man who made these dolls.
You don't say.
This doesn't concern you very much?
He thinks about it for a moment. He says, "I recall the man being a pleasurable sort. The children all loved him. He spent a deal of time making them all toys, as you've seen. As far as I can recollect, he moved along his way on his travels on amiable terms. It's a shame if he went down into the mines. We would have looked to see his visit again in a season or two hence."
Evie, ask him if he went alone or if he went with somebody when he left.
Was he alone when he came through the village?
He was.
does anybody know where he would have multiple stab wounds? Like why he would be? Because he was stabbed to death.
Yeah. Did he leave by himself?
As far as he knows, yeah, he came through, traveled off by himself.
Which direction did he go?
I don't really recall. He could have taken the north road, or I suppose he could have taken the south road.
Ask if these people are familiar with any sort of like salt god, similar to.
What are you? Why are you just?
That's
You have this weird fascination with like random like object gods.
so. So the salt in that mine seems to have some very unusual properties. That's unlike any salt that I've ever seen where I've come from. Certainly.
Yes, the mine is dangerous. That's why it's been boarded up. The children can't go in and play and get themselves into trouble.
But the salt, you never see the effects of it outside the mine.
Oh, me personally, no. I know better than to go playing around in the mine.
But what about it animating dead bodies and turning them into monsters?
Oh, well, there are old wives' tales and stories about that sort of thing.
I don't think they're stories. We fought a half dozen of them when we went inside.
He leans back. Yeah, you know, the creepy crawlies pushing their way up out of soiled graves and the like.
No, there were actual fucking monsters in your mind. Like real monsters that could like try to kill us.
I can't say that I approve of that sort of language. Who was it that taught you that word? I'd like to have a word with them.
That's a very important word in the culture that I come from. She probably learned it from her father.
Well, no, I mean, you learned Darkanese. Who taught you that word? Darkanese is what he's asking.
I don't know who taught me that word, Darkanese. She probably just used the Ferdiscan word.
Probably the carpenter. I got the carpenter teaching me all the curse words day one.
Yeah.
No, there were monsters in your mind.
Well, I suppose that's distressing. I know what to do. And he calls over to some of his neighbors. And you can tell that he's calling for a meeting after the midday meal. Because remember, after about lunchtime, the whole village kind of comes to a halt. Everybody takes a nice siesta in the middle of the day. He tells you not to worry. They're going to talk it out. And he's convinced that they will decide to board the mine back up so nobody else can go in and get hurt.
We've already boarded the mine back up.
It should already be boarded back up.
Oh, wonderful. Job well done. Let's have a beer.
It doesn't concern you that these monsters could harm your village.
Oh, if there are monsters, and I'm not saying there are. I think you believe that there are. But
I know there are. They tried to kill me.
they're down in the mines, and if the mines are boarded up. We've farmed this land for generations safely. You sure you don't want a beer?
I like a beer.
I'll take a beer.
Yeah, I don't think Evie's much of a beer drinker. She probably prefers wine.
And around this time, some of your party takes their meals out at other households in the village with people that they've met. But some of them take their meals back here in the long hall. So about this time of day, as the sun is hitting the highest point in the sky, some of the mothers from the other villages will bring over dishes for your party to eat. And that's what's happening now. They're coming up with covered dishes of crockware, steaming hot, pies fresh from the oven. So lunch is served here in the long hall.
During as the wives and things are coming up, Jeannie is going to ask them if they remember which direction the toy maker went when he left village.
You get conflicting results. Some people remember him leaving out the north path. Some people remember leaving him out the south road. Some people remember him arriving from the south, and others remember him arriving from the north. But they're all in agreement that he arrived, and they enjoyed his time while he was here. And when his work was done, he moved on.
It sounds like you didn't make any enemies.
Not here. Well, I think we need to just talk to Platten about this, because he was the one who was suspicious about the mine.
Agreed.
We didn't find anything in the mine.
Well, we found dead bodies.
Well, I mean, like, we didn't find anything what he wanted us to find. He wanted us to find, like, a reason this town is, like, not run over by evil forces.
Well, we found some kind of supernatural effect going on in that mine.
There were dead bodies in a living salt mine. Victor is of the opinion that these halflings have a salt Megillah.
Well,
Victor...
we need more evidence to come to that conclusion.
And
Jeannie...
Victor, for the record, Victor, the next time that thought occurs to you, please try to put it a little more diplomatically.
No, it's too late. The idea of Salt McGill is in the world now. It left his head.
Victor doesn't speak enough Darkanese yet for them to understand anyway.
You also don't know the Darkanese word for Megillah, so...
Yes.
It's probably just Megillah.
Can we, after lunch, do you want to try and figure out if we can't figure out where the sunlight is coming from in there?
Yeah, we'll do that at lunch.
I will talk to Platten.
Okay. Platten is also picking up the Darkanese language fairly quickly. Not quite as quickly as Jeannie and Evie, who both speedran it. But he has spent most of the morning trying to get information out of various townfolk about how the village is so safe in what is such a dangerous wilderness. And his efforts so far have been frustrated. All he's been able to point together is that these villagers are aware of those outside threats, the frog people from the marshlands especially, and there are lots of old legends and wives' tales of haunted castles or endless caves belching forth monsters, or the full moon bringing evil creatures out of the woods, but nobody seems to have any eyes-on experience with these things. They hold them to just be superstitions.
It has been so long since anything bad has happened in this village that the people just have no context for it. It's like, it can't happen here. It only happens in stories.
Let's see. If that's the case... I had a thought, and then it just disappeared out of my head.
Was it Salt Megillah?
No, it was not. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All I can think of.
That's the reason for all the...
So I guess I'll just...
No, but Paladin, no, it's gone. I can't. Fuck! It's really frustrating.
You shouldn't use that kind of language in front of the halflings. They don't like it.
It's true.
No, that was the player screaming because he...
Are you sure?
I hate having...
So who is assisting Victor in trying to find the location of this sunlight?
I can do it.
I'm gonna do what, given what we've heard, I'm gonna do what I can to just kind of bury these bodies and say a prayer over them.
So, question: if I summoned a turret and had it climb up the hole, how small was that hole?
A spider could fit up the hole. If it's a tiny creature, you think
it is a tiny creature, yeah.
So you're gonna unboard the mine and go back in alone?
Edmont, would you come into the mine with me?
What? Can you just send the turret in by itself along the ceiling until it?
I have to be within 60 feet of the turret to give it orders.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Okay.
You don't have to. You don't have to. I could take Orson.
You should bring the decanter.
Yeah, I'm bringing the decanter and Orson.
I want that decanter back though.
Well, I mean,
Victor, you find a little hole in the ground and you hunker down to put your eyeball into it, and you get a blast of friggin' water.
Oh, actually, I just started shoot water up the hole.
So
It only goes up 30 feet.
it takes you guys the better part of the afternoon, so a couple of hours. Victor, out in one of the fields laying fallow, you find the origin point of the hole in a small cluster of rocks just off to the side. It must have been many seasons since last time this field was planted. Make me an investigation check.
May have to use psionic die on this one. Gotta be shitting me. So that would be a 6 plus. I'm assuming a 6 fails.
So after the work
No.
is done, you and Jeannie coordinating somehow. What you manage to confirm is that Jeannie can send her little spider bot up the hole, and you can see it emerge from underground. So you know that from your position, you're not more than 30 feet away from Jeannie down in the tunnel, or down in the mine, out at the edge of this fallow field.
Does it look like someone tried to block the hole, or is it just sort of like does it look like there's a reason that it's so small?
It looks like there's just a pile of rocks sitting off to the side of the field, and there's lots of little piles of rocks everywhere that you could have placed it here deliberately, or it could be a coincidence. There's no way to tell.
So Victor is going to start moving the rocks.
Okay, and moving the rocks out of the way, and it's just a hole in the ground.
Does it get bigger as the rocks get moved?
No.
But somebody, the hawk saw beams, right?
From the mine side, bracing
yeah.
the ceiling of the cave.
So Victor is going to pull out his shovel and start to kind of prod around the ground to see if there's any sort of structure lightly buried.
Okay, and after a few seconds, like some dirt and tiny pebbles tumble down and hit Jeannie in the eye.
Hey,
Victor, how long do you dig?
What time of day is it?
It's getting on into mid-afternoon by the time you guys get coordinated.
No, it's been, see how it goes after about an hour.
Oh, long before an hour. Like after maybe 4 or 5 minutes of digging, you have a little hole. You've made it bigger on your end, but then you put the shovel down, so you've dug down maybe a foot, and it hits wood.
Aha! Jeannie, I think you can come out now.
yeah, okay.
And by the time Jeannie and Orson make their way back up,
Victor is excavating as he waits for them.
you have uncovered what looks to be a trap door set into the ground and then had soil placed over it. And you can see one of the boards making up the door has a giant knothole in the middle.
Is it just like this standard, like 3-foot trapdoor or something?
I don't know what a standard 3-foot trapdoor looks like. This is a wooden square down in the earth.
Is it like square with like 4 little windows, and if you punch it, it opens with a
Do you punch it?
click noise?
Press on it. Is there a way to open it?
I mean, possibly.
Wait, we'll try and open it.
Okay. You don't see a mechanism by which it could open. You're going to continue excavating it?
Yeah, just keep digging around it. Being a little more careful in case the ground is unstable.
Eventually you find the edge of the door where it's maybe 2 foot to a side. And it doesn't look like it opens on hinges at all. It looks like it's just a wooden pallet set down into this wooden frame in the soil. So with some more work, you could uncover it completely and then pull the pallet up and out.
Yeah, so Victor's going to continue to excavate. He's going to tell Jeannie Maybe you want to go ask when the last time these fields were used.
I mean, Jeannie has already left the mine. You said you can leave the mines now, so she left the mines.
He meant come up here with him.
I mean,
Okay, no, that's fine.
okay,
Or
yeah, I'm
now.
up there. Or now, yeah.
Well, if not, Victor was gonna phone you. Tell him.
Yeah, I can check that for you. I'll ask around who's the last family to work this fallow field up here. Why is it fallow?
Well, I mean, it's fallow because in the roll of seasons, you can't plant all your fields at once. It takes a couple of seasons for the soil to regenerate. So they farm what meets their needs out of all of their fields and let 2 or 3 of them lay fallow each season, and then they just rotate through them. And some people remember it differently. Some people remember it was 3 planting seasons ago, which means they'll probably plant it again next spring. Some remember it as being last season. Depends on who you ask. You get a different story. But you always do get a story. Everybody has vivid memories about the last time they personally worked that particular field. And one of the women has a great story about stuffing a particularly scary looking scarecrow that season. Everybody has very fond memories. But
I
not
am starting
consistent ones.
to get a. I don't think there's anything. I'm gonna gather everybody up but Victor because he's over there with the trap door, and I'm like, I've been talking to everybody, and I don't think there's anything sinister about the people per se, but I think there's something sinister going on about their brains. Absolutely everybody has conflicting. No 2 persons have the same story whenever you ask them to remember something.
They don't seem to have like a actual understanding of danger.
Well,
It's like something is just keeping them from. It's like they're being kept in a state of perpetual happiness.
I think something's messing with these people's brains. Because, like I said, you ask a question and you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different truthful recollections to that person. Like
What if something is messing with time instead?
No, there's no way that could happen twice.
What if they're like all, some sort of hideous cursed immortals? And they're kind of like they all have worked that field at some point over the countless millennia that they've been trapped here.
I think we need more evidence before we go to like time loop.
I
don't think it's a loop. I think it just might be like just something weird with time. I don't know. Back me up here, Genie. This is magically possible, right?
But that's way harder to do than just editing a bunch of people's memories.
The laws of magic in this world don't seem to be the same that we're used to. So what we know may not necessarily hold true here.
Yeah. This place would make a really good doctorate
Evie,
Yes.
thesis study.
give me a charisma saving throw.
Oh, that's not good.
While they're doing this, Victor is establishing like an actual archaeology site around this trapdoor and excavating as much as he can.
So
I got a 19.
19. Okay. Once you excavate enough that you can, well, I mean, you don't have Evie's crowbar or Jeannie's crowbar because she's off.
Oh, I have my own crowbar.
Then yeah, you have no difficulty getting this pallet and pulling it up, and now you have a great look down into the room of the cave where you found all of those bodies.
Were there any other structures that got dug up, or just
Nope.
the door?
It's a wooden shaft. It's only about 4 or 5 feet deep in the ground, because that's where the ceiling of the gallery below is. And it's braced with wood on each side, and it comes to a wooden frame on your end, and the wooden braces you saw down at the bottom. And anything you throw down this shaft will trickle down and fall into the cave below.
Is there enough sunlight coming down where I can see if the sun does anything when it hits the bottom in this larger area?
No, it's just well illuminated down there now because it's midday. Evie, you tell your companions, you know what? I don't think the laws of magic work the same here as they do back home. And then at that moment, for a second, you get a splitting headache behind your eyeballs, and your vision swims. and you see a man in very regal dress, in red and purple silks, and cloth of gold, with a golden crown upon his head. Weary looking. And he's sitting upon a gilded throne. And his eyes snap up. And you just see, you know that his eyes are looking at yours in that moment. And then as soon as as easily as it came upon you, the vision passes and the ringing in your ears subsides. And after a moment or so, you're okay again.
So yeah, Ekon, like, you know.
Did anyone else see that?
What?
See what?
And Evie tells them what she saw. There was like a man dressed like a king sitting on a throne in red and purple. He looked at me.
All right, sit down here. I'm going to do a medicine check out of character. And I'm also going to see if I can detect any magic on her.
Okay, give me an Arcana check.
Yep. That would be an Arcana of 17.
She's under the effect of no spell that you can discern, and the only other magic that you can detect are the residual magics that Evie's always carrying around, like her spell focus, her house relic, rather.
Her stabbing implement.
Her stabbing implement as well, yeah.
Her magic wand.
I think there's something going on here with the brain thing, and I think we should at least follow up on that by checking in with everybody in our party and asking them some questions. Does anybody
Should ask them like how long they've been here.
how long have let's start with us. How long have we been here? Does everybody
You were here for, I want to say, about a week before their harvest feast, and then it's been, I think, a couple of days since then.
I've got 16 days in my notes because I'm still tracking practice towards Darkenese.
That's a little over 2 weeks then.
So 5 days. My progress is at 20 days. 21 as of this morning because I have 5
remember,
days of
some
travel.
of that came on the travel.
I did. I subtracted that. So I've got 16 days.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks sounds about right to me.
So, but like the questions I'm asking is like, so everybody remembers how we got here. We came, we escaped from Bernadine on the boat. Like nobody, this ring's cleared for everybody.
Yeah,
Timeline.
very vividly. All of your stories amongst your own people match up. There are a lot of things that you've seen since you arrived here that they would probably like to forget.
Okay.
But
Okay, so how about we ask some of the villagers how long we've been here and see if we get different answers.
and when you do that, you also get consistent stories. They all know you arrived about a little over a week before the Harvest Festival. They know every detail about that legendary game of Wicker Ball you all played.
We changed the meta forever.
They can even accurately tell you what you've had for breakfast because they're the ones that cooked and served it.
Yeah, okay, I don't think it's a time thing. That doesn't seem to be what's going on.
The general sentiment amongst the rest of your party, with the exception of Platin and Giela, is that they're glad that you found a safe place, and if they have to stake out new lives here before the time comes to try to find a way back home, they're relatively comfortable with that. Giela is very, very restless because she wants to be back on the deck of a ship, and Platin, as described, is very suspicious.
Yeah. I think Plaid's suspicion is like rubbing off on Jeannie.
Yeah, I actually want to talk to Platin seriously about Platin, Aethar. It seems like you've been really on edge ever since we got here. Do you know something about this land that we're in? Have you heard about it somehow?
He doesn't, and he's even he's just now starting to make headway in learning the language. He's still having some difficulty talking to the people here. But based on the circumstances on how you guys ended up here and your travels through the marsh and your encounters with the frog people and then the hags and then that haunted keep, it doesn't there wouldn't be a village in Grand Fernisco this idyllic for this long, for that many generations, without a like a squabble breaking out, like troops having to be raised or natural disasters or something. He can't name a village back in your world that was this idyllic for this long, or who would be this friendly and welcoming to complete strangers.
These people seem to have no concept of what conflict even is. They've forgotten it. It's been that long.
That's why
no
he
one
suspects.
in living memory. No one in living memory seems to even remember it.
Right. That's why he suspects there's something supernatural at play protecting this place that these people may or may not know about.
Do you think does he think it is a good thing protecting them or a bad thing protecting them?
He thinks it's a good thing that they are being protected. He's willing to go that far.
Do you think that if we win a field, because we were thinking of going to that nobles
Right.
castle, because that seems like the best place to get some help for like Danique and maybe get some answers about the land. Do you think leaving the people here would be a good idea or a bad idea?
He thinks there are people in your party who are best left here in safety and comfort while others go afield. He thinks that's a good idea.
Well, the big thing is like I'm just afraid like we come back and my little sister is forgets who
Gone
we are.
forever.
Yeah.
As to that, he can't speak. He doesn't have much of an opinion one way or the other on this idea of a time loop or whatever it was you were floating.
I don't think it's a time loop. That's a dumb idea.
Nobody's ever been caught in a time loop.
So I
Not
think
once.
so what does everybody think about like our next, like maybe we stay here another week and then we kind of do some preparations. Spend the next week doing some.
I would like to do preparations before we go on a long excursion where it might be weeks before we come back.
How long do you think it'll take to figure out the written Darknese language from what you have in comprehend languages?
First of all, I'm gonna say that comprehend languages can't shorten that time. You can magically understand what the words say, but it wouldn't help to permanently learn it.
We can do that. We can use that to build a cipher, though. I would think.
Right. I'll say it'll take half the time it took you to learn to speak the language because you know how to speak it. You just now have to learn the system of glyphs that go along with it.
So half of 0 is 0?
Half of 15 is 7?
Jeannie, you can't read. I've just decided. You can't read anything. It's all gibberish to you.
It's like a week and a half for Evie is like I can't do this again. This is the one time I can do this. Let me have it. Like I only had the one language slot. It's like this is not going to happen again. But
It's like another week, probably.
But I want you to know that half of 0 is 0.
That sounds fair to me. If you spend a week at study and you already know how to speak the language, learning how to read and write it is not as difficult a task. I think that's fair to say. So a week of...
I think that might be worth doing before we head out. I could possibly look into scribing some scrolls or making some healing potions. I have some components I brought with me from Gran Francisco.
Yeah, we're replenishing our stock of those kinds of things. Like
I have
some spell components are like incense. These people might have that.
When does Victor come back down?
Oh, at any point.
Okay.
You can jump back to this.
He wanders back down while they're talking about prepping for leaving, I guess.
Victor's dirty and covered in farmland.
Does it look like
Victor?
So, a question for Victor, and like you were up there, do you think that looks like a spot that somebody was dumping bodies?
Potentially a while ago. So in the dirt that was being dug up, was there any signs of like grass or time passage where it had been covered for a while, or was it just loose dirt and rocks and no growth or anything?
Well, there's no growth at all, or no grass at all, because it's out at the edge of a field. So you could very easily put the wooden planks or the wooden pallet back into place, back into its frame, and then take your shovel and smooth it over with soil, and you wouldn't know it's there.
Okay, so it could have been used yesterday, could have been used a month ago. No real
The
weight.
bodies didn't look like they were dumped from a great height. We were down.
It also didn't look like they were dumped yesterday.
Well, so when we were looking at the bodies down, did anybody notice any sort of broken bones or anything that might indicate a fall? Does anybody know how to do that?
I mean, the bones are about all we have left.
No, it's possible, but nobody like did an autopsy on the fat man. You would have noticed like broken leg bones or something on the other ones because they had been skeletonized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fat man was killed with a dagger. It looked like.
I think most realistically, what probably happened there probably used to be a shaft there, and when they abandoned the mine, they covered it up to keep the salt trapped inside.
Yeah, I don't have any ideas on what's here. I think the best thing to do is I think we're gonna get better results if we go out to the keep.
So what is this
Find
I heard
out.
about time loop when I was walking back?
Find out why the tax man never showed up again.
Right.
And I still think a long-term goal, but not something we can pursue right now, but I think finding those elves who share the language of the elves from Vernisco's world.
They said that was like an entirely different.
Yeah, it's a long term, but I think finding those people might give us some answers. It's not I know it's not a strong lead, but it's the only connection we have between this world and our world.
My vote is we go check out the other town. It's one of the first things we do. It's fairly close. We can get some additional information about the area. We can coordinate what we hear from them versus what we've heard from these folks, and then we can go see if that lord is still even around.
So how far away is the town across the bridge? Like,
Let me pull up the region map.
He said it was like a couple days.
I
That
think
was a couple weeks.
the keep would have been a couple weeks away. He's talking about the town on the other side of the bridge, which was. Oh, you know what? No, I got this saved in tabletop. I don't have to go into immigrant.com. I can just load this up.
This isn't right.
That is not the most recent save.
That's fine. Ah, my revealer doesn't work.
You're out of
Per
MP again.
usual.
There, this one works. I have 4 lens of truths, but 3 of them are lies.
the lens of lies.
So
One-
you
one of
guys
us
are
tells the
here
truth.
at McGreer's village. So 2 hexes away is the bridge, and they noted a village to be on the other side of the bridge.
So I think
So that's about a day's travel, day and a half.
About 2 days, because each day is 1 hex. But you could reach it on the second day, almost surely.
we should. I think going to the other village and getting like a second opinion, because like there's just enough strangeness going on in this village that hearing what like
There's more than a little bit. Also,
And
the people of this village might know something about that keep. They might give us the maybe able to point us in a direction at least.
yeah, we could ask information of like about the tax man and the nobles and things there.
Because the people, the McGreer people leave this village. They go down here to meet with the Vistani man every quarter? It sounded like.
Once a season
every
or so,
sol-
typical. Usually,
Yeah, so it's not like these people have just never left this village and they have completely lost track of everything outside. Because they talk about, well, this person might have left, but they don't remember which way they went. It's like they've lost like context for what's outside their village. But we have seen them leave the village.
So that seems like a good idea to me. And then we do some preparations and then go to the north to find out what's in that thing. I've got about 7 days left on the +1 wood steel returning dagger.
I think we should finish that then. I think that's a good timeline.
so you guys are going to spend another week here in the village?
Yeah, we could brew some potions. I can get a couple batches of poison, hopefully.
And we should see who is coming with us and who is staying. Actually think that so Orson's coming with us because he is our he's our puppet that we control with strings.
I was going to say,
think
because he's the one who
Orson
can hunt.
I think Orson, Denny, and Jayla are going to want to come with us. I think Platten should probably stay here to protect our people who are staying here can't fight.
Yeah,
Platten
he's
and
also...
Lahir.
Platten
good-
also, I think, will keep investigating.
He's a
He might-
good
he might turn something up.
sub leader. We could leave him in charge when we're not here.
Plus,
Yeah.
Platten is also probably the only one that is equipped at all to handle any juju. He's okay.
Abernathy isn't incapable, but yeah, you're right.
So Abernathy, once over the course of the next couple days, you guys are mentioning your plans. Abernathy and Trieste are having a disagreement. Abernathy thinks that he agrees with most of you guys that the safest thing to do for Donique right now is leave her here in the village while you guys, meaning the Veritas men and women, do the investigating off-site and then bring back help. Trieste wants to be more proactive than that. She's ready to leave Donique in the village, but strike out with you so she can seek help. She can't just sit here and do nothing. The argument they're having is that Abernathy has come to the conclusion that he and Trieste are not much use in the type of adventuring that you guys get up to. And Trieste is taking that almost as an insult. She thinks she can make herself useful and needs to be proactive in helping fix her sister's condition.
I mean, if we get her some bullets, I think she probably could hold her own fairly well.
She's got a gun and spiritual weapon. I'm afraid of her.
She doesn't have any bullets in the gun. That is a concern. So we need to fix that problem.
I mean,
Giela is absolutely restless in this village. She realizes that she's safe, but like if she wanted a lifetime of safety and rustic living, she wouldn't have become a pirate.
Is Jayla employed by someone?
Yes, she's employed by the captain of the vessel you guys were supposed to escape Brennanine on.
Okay. So no one here. Like, she's here just because it's the most convenient place for her. She's not like one of Abernathy's employees.
No, she's not beholden to any of you. It's just, other than the fact that you are her last connection to a world she recognizes.
I think she should come along with us. Maybe we can find her a ship.
also, if we end up having to get on a boat, she's probably the only one that qualified to tell us if it's any good.
Yeah.
Chrisen
What's Chrisen doing?
asks you, or rather, he doesn't ask you anything. He informs you that he's going to be taking his leave of you.
Where does he think he's going to go?
Is that any of your concern?
I'd like to know what he knows about this world that he thinks he's going to find. What are you looking for?
What are you looking for?
Way home.
Treasure.
Some way to heal, what's her name?
A way to protect my family.
So it sounds like we all have goals.
And you feel like you can accomplish yours better by yourself?
I feel like I can accomplish mine better if I'm not a prisoner.
You know what? I don't think he needs to be a prisoner. He hasn't done anything since he's come here. He's been helpful.
He hasn't been a prisoner since we got here. He's just kind of been left up to his own devices, as far as I know. We've been more concerned about Denny.
What makes you feel like you're a prisoner here, Chrisen?
And he points out that he turned himself over to you and you guys tied him to a chair and then took him to jail and he got beat up.
That was a while ago. I mean, since we've been here.
So, to clarify, he's not asking your leave to go. He's telling you he's taking his leave of you.
Oh, that's fine.
I mean, we can't stop him.
And when you start making inquiries about what his plans are, what he hopes to find, he doesn't give you straight answers.
If
Chrisen, listen. I've seen you make another holy symbol. I would like it if you stayed with us, because I've seen what priests of your order can do. And I feel like you would be an asset.
And he kind of rubs the side of his chin where you see one of the scars formed from his time down in the dungeon. He says, yes, I've seen what priests of your order can do as well.
So don't you think it would be better if we worked together?
I think it would be best if we part ways amicably.
Chrisen, if you come across this again and you need help, please reach out.
He says, that's very gracious of you. And if nobody stops to leave,
Good luck.
he leaves the next day.
What has Platten thought of that? He's kind of been the one who's keeping an eye on Chrisen. Does he have any objections? Or does he just say, it's better if he just goes his own way?
Platten doesn't know what jurisdiction he would have to keep Chrisen curtailed.
None of us do.
He's not. There's no Etherine church
Aetherian
here. There's
church
no,
here.
yeah, he's representative of a church that holds no power here.
But like, does he feel like Kristen is going to go off and like cause trouble?
Kristen thinks that he was thrown into this world as punishment for, I guess, warning us about another church.
Jeannie, make a religion check.
That is. It is a 17.
17. As the thought leaves your lips, this idea that Kristen was sent here as punishment for something, it rings incredibly true to you in that moment. You can't pinpoint exactly why, because obviously whatever sins you've committed are different from that of Kristen. But the idea that you are all being punished, that the statement pertains to your whole party, rings very true.
I just had like a weird, like magical, almost like epiphany, and
You have that. You share that thought with the rest of us. That if, regardless of any of our sins, what are the children guilty of that would cause them to be sent here?
what am I guilty of? I'm 18 years old. I haven't really. I mean,
I think the children being sent here was an accident. I don't think they were intended to get sent here. They weren't supposed to be on the ship that brought us here.
You think air makes accidents?
So,
I'm still not sure this is Air's doing.
to get a sense of the plan, you guys are going to stay here for another week, so you can resolve a week worth of downtime actions. If you so choose, advance your counter, make rolls for foraging for poison materials. And then after a week, you are going to leave with Orson, Trieste, Jayla, and Lair. Is that correct?
I think
Lair.
Lair should stay. Like his job is to protect Tinny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought Denny wanted to come with us.
Now let me clarify that, because his job is to do whatever you guys tell him to do. Is that a charge you're giving him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to keep an eye on Denny and make sure he doesn't do anything stupid.
No, Denny has no inclination to go back out into the wilderness on.
No, I
full
mean that's
adventures.
Lahir's other job.
Oh, okay.
That's what Ekon specifically tells him.
Sure.
I thought Denny was going to insist that he come with us.
So Denny, what you're saying is you want us to be the representatives of House Veritas when we meet the important people in the other town, and the nobles at the city up north.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think
So you're just giving up, Denny? You're giving up on your house?
I thought he was like. I thought honestly that like that was like a big bugaboo for him. He wanted to be the representative and be in charge.
Make an insight check.
I'm confused, Denny. What do you want?
Oh,
You can make this at advantage if Victor is also here plugging at him.
yeah.
He absolutely is.
That is a sorry, +4. That is a 14, and then like my other roll was slightly less.
So 14?
Yeah.
There's a party that realizes that Denny likes comfort, obviously, but he also likes power. The idea that he wouldn't travel with you to try to establish House Veritas here in this new world with whatever lords or other villages might exist down the road. The only other explanation that makes sense is that with you lot gone, he can stake a claim here using your name. Well, using his name too. It's the same name. You think as soon as you guys are gone, as soon as your back are turned, Denny might try something.
We could tie him up.
For months.
Tie him
I'm
up.
gonna-
Tell Lair, just leave him tied up for 6 months in the basement. He'll be fine.
You drop him into a mine shaft.
Yeah, I think I think I've come to the conclusion that Genie's just gonna kill him in his sleep. Like seriously.
Victor's like, hey, Denny, come check out this cool shit I found in the field.
Hey, Denny, you want to see a dead body?
But that's what you get that
Surprise,
sense.
It's yours.
You don't know what he's up to or what he might try or what his chances of success are, considering that you're leaving Abernathy and Platten behind, and they're competent people. But Denny, it feels like he's exhausted his resources as far as trying to bully his way through the six of you. And if you guys are leaving, he might try something in your absence.
I'm afraid he's going to do something to Tenny.
I don't know why he would.
I'm
Well,
afraid he's going to try and enslave the halflings.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Tenny outranks him in the house anyway. Like, he doesn't need to do anything to Tenny. She's literally just a child.
well, like if he, I don't know, takes her hostage and forces us to do things for him.
Victor is going to try and manipulate his ego into wanting to come with us.
Make a... I'm going to call this a deception check. Because you're not revealing your true intentions to him. Unless you're going to reveal to him that you know he's going to try a power play when you're gone.
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, make this a deception check. And you can make this at advantage because Jeannie is also with you in this conversation.
That would be a 13.
So what do you tell him to persuade him it's better for him personally to go with you than to stay behind?
Some
You want a
bullshit
suggestion?
about what's that?
Do you want a suggestion?
Yeah.
That if any of the other powers that be here were to take him seriously, he would have to make these kinds of things, make these kind of proffers in person rather than sending us lowly proxies.
Yeah. So some stuff about how if he comes with us, then he can introduce himself to any of the nobles that we meet. He can introduce himself to the city chieftains. He can work to establish trade routes in the name of House Veritas to kind of get our reputation out there and show himself that he is the face of the house and he is the leader that he always wants to be.
And you're making a lot of sense to him. He's like, part of him realizes like that's why he was sent to Brennan in the first place. That was his role. So he agrees to go with you all when you leave in that regard.
Good.
All right.
All right, so two more things I think we need to resolve.
I'm going to throw him off the bridge.
So your plan is to leave the next morning and go west to the bridge. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
After
The next
our-
morning after the downtime, you mean?
Yeah.
After the downtime, yeah. You guys can
Yeah.
go ahead and okay. Edmont, did you actually take take the time to sketch out the dead bodies down in the mine?
Yes.
Okay. So as you're cataloging that sketch, and next time you were to pull it out to look at it, the dead bodies are still there against the wall just as you've drawn them. And standing over them is an old man that you're seeing from behind with a wide-brimmed straw hat. Drawn exactly in your style in your hand.
So, like, were any of us present when he drew these? Like, we were present.
All of you
when
were
he drew
present.
this.
Yeah, you
Do
were all.
we see these pictures? Like, does he show them to us?
It's up to Edmont.
I mean, no, I'm good for now.
So you're keeping that to yourself? Okay.
Keeping that under my hat for now.
The villagers have like another impromptu feast here in the long hall the night before you guys are leaving. They're sad to see half of your party going. You guys have been such excellent guests. You've shared great stories. You were quick to learn their language. There's some weeping amongst the women folk of the village, and a big meal is prepared and served that night. And you all retire for the evening. And upon the sunrise the next day, the plan is to set out to the west. You don't make it that far.
I was waiting for that.
You're awoken sharply in the middle of the night from a man's scream down in the long hall, nearest to the entrance. And you hear him cry out in agony. And then you hear sing-song voices below of children singing in Darkanese over and over again. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Fucking Salt Megillah.
And as you strike a light and aim it down, you see 6 of the town children over Denny on his straw mat, plunging knives into his chest repeatedly. And standing in the now open doorway of the long hall are a large crowd of villagers watching and smiling, each of them holding a knife.
Distress! Distress!
I told you so.
I knew it! I called it! I fucking called it!
All right.
Wait, did you say standing over Denny?
Yes.
Is it Denny's
I called it.
birthday?
You have no idea what day it is.
I mean, I have a rough idea of what day it should be.
Do we have the option to join in and help?
I mean, it's the wrong time of year. You guys left in winter
Okay.
and arrived in summer.
I mean,
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post a straw poll to the Twitch chat here. You guys can vote who to blippist. Then I'm going to go dark while I add up some experience. And I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
We tried to save him.
We did our best. Oh no, it's Denny. He's gone forever.
Yeah, how bad is that really?
I mean,
They kind of did us a favor when you think about it.
they
Yeah.
did, but we wanted to do it.
well, this way we don't have to do the powers roll.
It would have been worth it.
I have been like if I had gotten Denny alone at any point where I thought I could have gotten away with it, I was going to try to kill him. It was getting to the point where I was going to try and talk Evie into helping me try to kill him. Like, it's like, I need some help. This is just not happening. Denny's a piece of shit. He won't, like, we can't get him into the house by himself.
All I know is next session, Victor is just going to be mumbling, "I told you so," the entire time.
What are you like, no, this is not a Salt Megillah thing.
No, it's a murderous halfling village where they stab the bodies and throw them in the mine.
Yeah.
Okay, we need, like, okay, who had the most creative solution?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Victor.
We got-
Who's the most creative today?
I Evie for suggesting we dissolve the
Right.
creatures with water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of killed that whole dungeon.
That's okay. He's just gonna punish us later for it.
Okay.
Who furthered the party's goals the most today? I would say Victor for calling it and
Calling what?
doing the legwork to dig this up, dig up the body hole.
Okay.
Who's a badass today?
Hmm. Combat was not very.
I mean, I'll trade badass for the fire hose, and somebody else can have the other one.
Yeah, party goals. I think I'm gonna put Genie forth for party goals give the badass for the water hose tech for Power Wash Simulator, and then say Genie for party goals for asking the tough questions.
Yeah. Somebody who was talking to the villagers should get the party goals one.
Then who's intangible today?
McDohl for not telling us about the creepy hat guy.
I'll go.
Yeah, I like that.
I was trying to
Especially
think.
when Evie could have said, "Hey, I've seen that guy too."
I was just trying to think. Like, is there anything I could do to make you guys like these villagers even more?
If you have him kill Denny for us, yeah, no, we're still on friendly terms, I think.
I mean, is it his birthday? I'd be more upset if they got the birthday wrong.
Do you guys want some experience?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So 4 of the salt monsters comes out to 733 experience each. 733. Okay, and who wants to make a case for your blips?
I can go.
Genie.
when in doubt, go with your gut for saying, "Yeah, I can stay here. Don't worry, I'll be fine," and just sitting down in the water because the water. My gut was telling me the water would protect me from the salt monsters.
So-
Because it was
I did give these monsters a susceptibility to water, and I planned you guys to discover it over the course of the dungeon. I had completely forgotten we had got a decanter of endless water.
endless water.
Well, I mean, we did see the clue because of the body that wasn't, encrusted.
I mean,
So,
for the entirety of the first combat, I'm like, do I spend my action to cast Create Water?
So my thought was like they'll maybe they'll start lobbing their wineskins or something, or figure out a way. I completely forgot you just had a fire hose in your pocket.
What would Nigel do for taking all of this incredibly dry, boring correspondence in like record keeping and keeping it for the information and archaeology, like, because it tells a story, you know?
I mean,
And-
Nigel, that's the opposite of what Nigel would do. Nigel always had other people want to do that kind of stuff for him.
Well, I could have somebody else do it for me, but like I kept it.
Okay.
Uh,
Like, yeah, he would take the ledgers and pawn them off on Ruby, whose job it would be to.
right. Did I have something for my flaw? No, I don't think I do, but the video.
All right, and who's next?
Victor will go.
Victor.
So for the alignment, the ends justify the mean. Using the fire hose to start flooding the cavern to try and get rid of the salt monsters.
Or Wash Simulator.
Okay.
For the ideal, seek the truth amount of the cost. That would be washing off the dead bodies, even if it might actually destroy any evidence on there with the water.
Well, you were careful not to destroy evidence. You didn't use the fire hose setting to wash the
I
bodies.
stopped you. He was going to, and I stopped him.
Oh, okay.
And then for the flaw, his insistence that the halflings might be sacrificing people to a god.
Was that a flaw?
Values knowledge over people, so at the risk of offending people.
They've only stabbed Denny so far. They still might be good people. You don't know.
We know of.
I mean, no, they stabbed a toy maker to death for sure.
You don't know that.
Was it his birthday?
I'm pretty
She
sure.
said,
like,
the kid said happy fucking birthday. They're fucking evil.
listen, I'm pretty sure we can connect the dots on what happened to this poor toy maker.
Now, I will say that McDohl was correct. Blinsky is an
Yeah.
NPC in Curse of Strahd. Probably the most effective NPC in the book. So, the story of Blinsky in Curse of Strahd is you keep coming across these toys that have the little notice on it. Is no fun, is no Blinsky. And every time I said that to my players when I ran that, they, like, got really dark. Like, this is the scariest shit. And then you get to a city where you can meet Blinsky. Like, he lives there and he makes toys. And they're like, we have to burn his house down right now. He's not up to anything. He just makes toys. That's it. That's the whole story.
Somebody didn't like their Cabbage Patch smell, I guess.
Toys are just universally creepy, I guess. My players were ready to burn Blinsky's house down.
Yeah, no, we had fun with Blinsky in my run of Curse of Strahd.
All right, who's next for Blips?
I can go.
I'll go.
Ekon.
I've got Flaw. I'm sure there's got to be something good just over that next hill for his probably not going to happen now plan to head out and go to the castle and find out what happened to the tax collectors. I've got
Figured that out.
lawful was it tax collector's birthday? I've got lawful good, the shining words of air lay down a path for us all for taking care of the bodies that we found in the salt mine, and I've got initiative bitch.
Okay. And Edmont, what do you got for me?
I've got my ideal. Life is my canvas. I'll make my mark on it for continuing to draw pictures and being very unsettled by things that he doesn't really recall drawing, but is still drawn by him. And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you for honestly not seeing this murder town coming.
That's actually the name of the map I found. It's called Murder Town, but I just scrubbed it out. So you
Is
guys
it
wouldn't catch
really?
on. No.
Oh.
What's funny is when I doctor the maps like this, like I could look at this map and see all of the horrible places I had to Photoshop words out of. I don't know how noticeable it is to people who didn't see the original, though.
Honestly, I don't look at the maps that closely. I'm sure if
No,
I did, I could
you're too busy
probably-
playing Vampire Survivors in the other window.
I can see this part, but that's all I really see.
Was that it for Edmont?
No, I'm good.
All right, and that just leaves Evie.
It leaves Evie. Okay. Aspect, you mess with my family, you mess with me for getting very angry when Genie used the area effect spell that hit Orson.
Orson was fine. He had 10 hit points.
A chess master must move for pieces of position of greatest advantage for basically just skipping one of the salt monster encounters by telling Ekon to just pull it into the water. And last flaw, no one understands for getting scolded for using improper language by the murderous halfling cultist.
You don't know that they're cultists.
Well, they're probably not nice.
To be fair, you don't even know if they're halflings.
That. How surprised is anyone really that just like all the happy little halflings just suddenly decided to kill us?
I'm extremely surprised. I didn't. See
I don't know
that
about
coming.
this us business.
I feel like one way or another that was gonna happen.
Who had the most creative solution to a problem this session?
That was Evie for the idea to use water against the salt monsters.
I
She
mean, I
the
was
one that
careful
voiced-
to place one of the salt monsters on the other side of the water so you guys could see how he reacted.
Well, she is the first one to Evie's the one that said, "Hey, pull it in the water," and
She discovered their weakness, and after that, the rest of the dungeon was much easier.
who did the most to further the party's goals this session?
that was a Genie for asking the hard questions. You know, like there's something off about these halflings and their memory, and they all have conflicting stories, and
They just are liars.
Because they're all psychopaths.
I guess it's just because they're all lying and they're bad at it. But
They didn't get their story straight.
Who was the badass?
who was it? That was Victor. Was it Victor? It was Victor for Power Wash Simulator.
Had 1.4 intangibles.
That was That was Edmont for keeping the creepy picture figure to himself. That's not going to come back and bite us all in the butt.
No, surely not. And Genie has the straw poll for the week. Nobody spent any blips this session. Everybody has 6 still, so this is all going to roll over. Blips are currently worth... We're level 4, right? Or level 5?
We're 5.
We're
We're not.
5.
It's 250.
Blips are worth 250. So, Edmont, you're rolling over 3. Ekon is rolling over 3. Evie is rolling over 4. Genie is rolling over 5. And Victor is rolling over 4. And when we come back next week, we will celebrate Denny's birthday.
I might be
I'm
level
going to spend blips to level.
Yep.
Spend blips to level. Okay.
Yeah, if I cash out all of mine.
So Ekon's coming in next week with 0. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
14,000 to level.
Yeah, that's what I have on mine. If that's not it, I can't, but I can just barely make it.
I'm also cashing out all 6 of my blips.
And is Victor cashing out all 6 of his?
I don't think I have to do all 6. I'm trying to calculate how many.
You said 3, and it's 250 per.
It's literally 14,001
Yep, that's
for
right.
me.
Edmund has 3 blips. They're worth 250 each. Yes.
Okay, so that's
I'm cashing out 5 blips.
Okay, so I got Victor coming back next week with 1. Ekon with 0. Genie with 0. Seems like a good idea to start this next encounter with the murderous villagers with 0 blips. That's a smart play.
But what I'll have is I'll have 2nd level spells, and
I don't have enough. I don't have enough blips to cash out and actually go up a level. So
So you're going to come in with 6?
yeah,
Okay, and then Evie, you're coming in with 6 as well?
Yeah,
All right.
I can't level leave if I spend them all.
So the good news is next week when you guys get blips, they'll be worth more. So.
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks for playing. I can't wait to stab you.
I can't wait to be stabbed.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, friends.
You